So I came across this document a little earlier this afternoon, and I think this explains a lot as to why we are facing what we're facing right now. So I am not familiar with the JIDF. I know the IDF, but the JIDF, I believe, is some type of an organization that promotes, if you will, pro-Israel messaging on social media. And so I know that the font is a little small, guys, but if you take a gander at what we're looking at here, basically what ends up happening for a lot of these accounts is they end up getting paid, and as you can see, in some cases, in a very substantial way by the pro-Israel lobby to basically push a pro-Israel message on social media. So when you're seeing accounts saying, let's go to war against Iran, the Israel has the right to defend itself, it's really Hamas, it's not the Palestinians that are the problem, et cetera, et cetera. It's easy to see how these types of accounts pop up. And we know, we've seen the footage, we've seen the videos, we know the people that have done it just for political purposes, whether through Palantir, whether through Cambridge Analytica. There's a lot of these different private organizations that will pay people to push a certain agenda. So is it really a stretch, Steve, that we are seeing people push an agenda for World War III, dare I say, because that is very possible in this moment, all for the purpose of making a few extra shekels? Just a thought.
Nah, man, that seems to be the name of the game. See, when you atomize people and you privatize things and you make it all about the individual and their success or their failure, and it's all on them. This is the libertarian mindset. It's all about you. It's coercion to help people. It's we gotta all be like individuals. And if I make a good investment and I become a millionaire, that's because I'm a great person. I did great things. Your failure makes you your failure. And so you get shit like this JIDF crap. And I mean, that's why I am an avowed socialist and an MMTer, because I want to collectivize. I want everyone to succeed, and I want people to thrive and survive without having to make compromising shit decisions like this, because we've atomized society. I mean, this is a direct relationship to atomizing society by creating the me, myself, and I, what's in it for me world. You get a JIDF, and wow, oh wow, that was an eye opener, man. I didn't want to see it, but I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah. I think we all need to see it, and I think people need to realize that just about everybody out there who's pushing this agenda on Israel's behalf, yeah, I'm not saying everybody's getting paid, but a lot of them are getting paid. And hey, listen, please comment, because all you're doing is helping our channel. So if you want to troll, you want to tell us how much you hate us, that's great. Keep doing it. More people will see our channel. And the ratio here suggests that you're outnumbered about 100 to 1. So that's probably reflective of where a lot of the politics is in this country. The numbers are so overwhelmingly against Israel, and yet what we are dealing with here is the greater problem, which is our system, our country has been captured by corporate special interests, and the Israel lobby has a lot to do with that. They play a substantial role.
Absolutely, man. No question about it. I mean, when you look at everything that our country does, and you can, I mean, seriously, like if you go back to our founding documents, and I challenge everybody that just supports the troops and talks about the Constitution and all that stuff, if you go back and you realize our Constitution was literally written by wealthy white slave owners, and it was not written on behalf of all the poor people and the low and the downtrodden. It was written literally for those wealthy people to retain their possessions, to protect private property, and to ensure that they had a police force, if you will, by law, to guard the rich who were hoarding things away from the people who were dying and starving. So naturally, when you look at what our country was founded on, and you look at the lies that we've been fed since the dawn of, the colonizing project that we call the United States, it's been set up this way. We've been conditioned from day one to cheer for the flag that represents the red, white, and blue in all of us, while simultaneously atomizing each individual and saying, if you do well, it's all your good. If you do badly, well, it's all your problem. It's your fault. You should have been born by a better family. Your family should have had more money. How dare you say you have a claim on my money? Stop hating. Stop being jealous of me, right? Somebody was born on third acting like they hit a triple. So I think this entire mindset that leads to this stuff goes back. I mean, like, I know for sure in this country to the founding documents, and all of our laws and everything else that sets this country up are founded on defending that concept.
The concept of, I guess, the austerity mindset has fully seeped into a substantial portion of the population. And I do believe that a lot of people in this country are under the illusion, because that's what it really is, they're under this illusion that it's kill or be killed. If I'm going to succeed, somebody else is going to have to fail. So I don't have any sympathy for somebody who ends up falling through the cracks while I'm ascending up the next rung on the ladder. I do think that has, if there is a successful component of austerity politics, it is that mindset. I'm not going to say that that's the overwhelming majority mindset, but it's definitely a mindset nonetheless that has overtaken a substantial portion of the population.
Well, going back to my readings of Ayn Rand as a young libertarian many, many moons ago, reading The Fountainhead, reading, Atlas Shrugged, reading all these different like writings of Ayn Rand, the core theme of all of her writing is there are makers and there are takers. And that mindset used to be for the, incel community, but now it's somehow or another creeped into progressive world. It's creeped into other groups little by little, people that don't have a deep theoretical understanding of power and working class consciousness. And they get swept away with this stuff. And you read, where's John Galt? Who's John Galt? Blah, blah, blah. And you start realizing that there is a true group of people out there who thinks that everything that they do is theirs for the taking. And who are you to tell me I can't accumulate and acquire everything by hook or by crook? Get out of my way. If you're not smart enough to defeat me, then you're a loser and you should die and fuck you. And, and let me set up a warlord status so I can be king libertarian. And this has become, you go back to the 60s, with, all the Mount Pelerin Society and the Chicago School and Milton Friedman and the rest of them, the Powell memo later. We have been priming this pump for a long time. What you're seeing today with Project 25 and the rest of it isn't something new. This is the culmination of many, many years of libertarian Austrian logic penetrating the halls of justice around the country and penetrating the world at large. And I would say the U.S. has become the single largest libertarian experiment in the world. And I would say the vast majority of people are very, very miserable. Yeah, there's a few people out there saying, speak for yourself. Well, I will. I've got an education, I've got a career, blah, blah, blah. And I can assuredly tell you that I can see the suffering without having to experience it, even though I am experiencing it, right? You think about this, the whole fucking country is under a mass psychosis of literal propaganda. It's baked into our sitcoms, baked into everything. And they get it reinforced at church, reinforced on the news, reinforced with alt media, people equivocating, not pulling for the collective, always going for the individual. And we get rocks, we get so excited when we find somebody that's going to go down for the count. We want to talk about who the bad guy was, and we want to talk about who the good guy was. And instead of looking at it like we win and we lose collectively, which would really fix a great many problems, including our ability to organize and actually have power. We're atomized to the point where we don't stand a chance unless we fix it.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing about working collectively together. If we do not work collectively together, we will not stop Israel's complete takeover of our country. They're already there, but they could very well drag us into World War III. And if we try to tackle this as individuals, we will lose. If we tackle this as the United States of America, we might have a chance. And that's the type of mindset that I think needs to kind of permeate through all different aspects of our society. Right now, that's not happening. And what we collectively must do is expose organizations like the JIDF that trust none of what you see and less of what you hear, and recognize that our fight is predicated on this idea that we can have things that all of the developed nations that care about their people do have. We have been played for fools for far too long, but Mark Twain often said, it is easier to fool a person than to convince them that they're being fooled. Now, I think it's a lot harder to fool people in this day and age because I think most people are starting to suffer under the boot of the broken capitalist system. You cannot get to this point where very few in the population are actually succeeding within this system, and the overwhelming majority of people are failing.